Hello everyone, welcome back to another session of Web Technologies. In today's class, I'm going to discuss about XML. What is XML? XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. So what is meant by markup language? Okay, so what is markup language? So markup language uses a set of additional items called markups to create a document of hierarchical structure. So markups are something like tags, and these tags like are hierarchical. So there will be an outer tag, and then there can be inside tags and inside tags and all that. That's what is called as hierarchical structure. And XML is extensible. Why we are saying that it is extensible is because it allows the author, whoever is writing the code, allows the author of the document to define the markup elements of their own. So unlike HTML, so in HTML, there are predefined tags like paragraph tag, and then you have some tags which are like a div tag and all that. So select a tag and all that. So these are predefined tags in HTML. But in XML, you can create your own tags. Okay, so say I'm having a bookshop, so I can create a tag which is called as book. So if it is regarding mail, I can simply say it is a message tag and all that. So these are my own tags. So the author himself or herself can create his or her kind of tags. So that's the reason why it is called as extensible. Okay, and XML is recommended by W3C, which is World Wide Web Consortium, and the purpose of XML is different from HTML. So do not confuse that both are for the same purpose. HTML is for structuring your data, but XML is for storing as well as exchanging the data. HTML gives a structure to your data. Okay, so HTML is for displaying data through user agent, which is the web browser. But from XML, you cannot display the data. You need some other XSLT and all that to display the data in some HTML format on the screen. So the purpose of XML is different and the purpose of HTML is different. So what is XML is used for storing as well as exchanging the data. So now so XML is a markup language to develop documents containing structured information. Okay. Now let us look into with this idea of what is XML. So let us look into the rules of building XML. So what are the various rules that are used for building XML? So now coming to the first rule. Okay, so now coming to the first rule. So like it said, like all XML must have a root element. So for example, you're creating a class tag. So there is class, inside class, there is a student tag. And inside the student tag, I have a name tag, and then I have the ID tag and all that. And then I need to close this name tag here, and I need to close this ID tag here. Um, ID tag here, and then I need to close the student tag, and then I need to close the class tag. So this is how I need to actually do. So here in this entire structure, in this entire XML document, the class over here is considered to be the root element. So here class is the root element. Now all tags must be closed. As I said, for every opening tag, there is a close tag. So here I have an open class tag. So here you can see I have a close class tag. For the student open tag, I have a closing student tag. For name, I have a closing name tag. For ID, I have a closing ID tag. So for all tags must be closed properly. And the next rule is that all tags must be properly nested. Okay, so they should be properly nested. For example, you should not give class and then give student over here. So this will be wrong, because the class over here is the outermost tag, and then inside it, like you're having the student tag. So this kind of nesting will be wrong. So I need to have the student first and then the class tag later. So all tags must be properly nested. Now tag names have strict limits. Okay, so they have strict limits, like where they start and where they end. So each and every tag need to be put properly, and tag names are case sensitive. Say for example, I'm having the class tag, so where all the letters are lowercase, and I cannot give the end tag as all letters as capital letter. So this is different from this. Okay, so they are case sensitive. And tag names cannot contain spaces. So you cannot say like it is class 5, or you cannot say that class 6 or whatever. So this kind of where I have a space in between these two, so that is not valid. Attribute values must appear within quotations. So attribute values, if there are any, so they should be appearing in double quotations. For example, if I say date is equal to, so this is an attribute, so the value of the date should appear in double quotes, and the format of the date will be year and then a hyphen and then month and then followed by the day. Okay, so this is how it should be. And next, white spaces are preserved. So let us see what will happen in HTML when you give white spaces. If you give white spaces in HTML, the white spaces, like for example, I have given 10 white spaces, the 10 white spaces will be truncated to one white space. Okay, but here in XML, all the 10 spaces will be considered. Okay, so white spaces are preserved, and HTML tags should be avoided. So it is better like we do not mess up or combine HTML tags with our own tags. Next one is use entity references. Okay, let me make you understand what does it mean. Now coming to the entity references, okay, so there are entity references, predefined entity references like less than, greater than, and then I have ampersand, and then single quotes and double quotes. These are predefined entity references in XML. So lesser than and greater than symbols have a meaning, like they are like the open and the tag. Okay, so the tag will be having the less than and the greater than in between, like you give. So this entire thing is considered to be a tag. Now for example, say you have a tag which is called as salary, and I'm saying salary, then I'm saying 75,000, okay, less than 1 lakh. Okay, so I just wanted to mention it this way. So when I am then close the salary tag. Now coming over here, so this less than symbol is already having some predefined meaning in XML, and you cannot use it like this. Okay, so for that reason, you have this entity references, which are like for less than, you can give it as and less than, right? It is L stands for less, T stands for than, and a semicolon. If it is greater than, it will be and, greater than, GT, semicolon. If it is ampersand, then I will be saying and, AMP, and a semicolon. Don't forget a semicolon at the end. And then for the single quotes, it is and then I am saying it is a pause and a semicolon. For the double quotes, it is and, QUOT, and then a semicolon. So these are the predefined entity references. Replace this particular code entity reference over here, then it will work. Okay, so if you are directly using less than symbol inside your XML, then it will not work for you. It will throw you an error. Next is regarding the comments. How to give comments in XML. Same like how you have given comments in HTML, you will be giving the comments in the same way. So how do I give comments? Comments, I'll be putting the less than and then exclamation and then 2 hyphens. And whatever I want, I'll be writing the text over here or my comments, and then give 2 hyphens and the greater than symbol. So this is how I give comments in HTML. In the same, I also use the same thing to give comments in XML. Comments will not be passed. Okay, so comments will not be executed, and they won't show up on your browser as well. Okay, so these are the rules that we need to follow to make a good XML document. Now let us look into what are the advantages of XML. So coming to the advantages, so the first one is, since XML supports Unicode, or almost all human readable and written languages can be communicated using XML. It can be used to render data structures, that is records, lists, and trees. XML is self-documenting, that is it contains data and description about the data, as I already told you in the definition. And XML needs a parser. Okay, so another, which is a software application to process it, to parse it. XML is used both on and offline for storing and processing data. And XML supports incremental update, so you can make changes to it and all that. XML allows validation of the document using XSD or schematron. And so we can do validations using XSD. And next one is The tree-like structure of XML is suitable for almost all the types of documents, and being platform independent, it has a lot of benefits. Like it is not very prone to technological changes. Even the changes are made in DTD, is the document type definition or schema. It is easier to keep forward and backward compatibilities available. And the predecessor of XML is SDML. So that's the reason like a lot of experience have been put into making XML. So that's the reason why XML is more successful today. So now coming to the applications of XML. So let us look into the applications of XML. The first application of XML is um, the first application of XML is the data transfer. So XML is one format programmers use to transfer data in a structure that can be passed by all diverse applications. And so for transferring the data, okay, we'll be using XML. So from one device to another device, if you want to send the data, so the format that is followed by the programmers is XML format. And the next application is web searching. Okay, so how the searching happens so accurate is that because your search engine checks into the tags and appropriately. Say for example, I want the author, so the author tag is directly taken. As I already told you, like which author you want, it's a first author or the second author, so on. Like you can, the search becomes very easy when the data is put in the XML format. And the next one is creating layouts. So every layout in an Android mobile application is created using XML. Not only creating the layouts in Android mobile applications, like it is also used to store the color, styles, dimensions, and that the app will be using. And the next application is storing configuration data. XML also stores the data used to configure an application. So for example, in Microsoft Excel, XML holds all the information contained in a spreadsheet. Okay, not only the data, it also holds the information regarding the columns, definition of the columns, the format of the fields, and any calculations they use, like average or sum or anything. All that information is put in the XML data, okay, stored in XML file. And the next application is formatting documents. So PDF files or PostScript files or Word documents, okay, PPTs, all these are stored in the XML format. When you open these files in their default application, it parses this XML document, and the visual thing that you will be seeing on the screens is after parsing the XML document. Okay, so it passes this XML document, formats it, and gives it in the style that you want to see on the computer screen. So these are all the applications of XML. So now let us take a look at XML schema data types, which is also called as XSD. XSD stands for XML schema definition. So in this part, there are data types like the XSD data types. Now these data types are of two types. One is the simple data and the second one is the complex data. Now coming to the simple data, so you have 8 types over here. So the first one is Boolean, which will be taking true or false, or you can also give 1 or 0, not other than that. So coming to the integers, there are whole numbers like 100, 200, okay, or 198, or 242, okay, so which do not have a fraction part. So numbers which are having fraction parts like 16.821 and all that, so they are considered to be decimal. And so you can also the floating over here, so in the decimal you can fraction numbers, you can take them to be either floating or it can be double. If it is float, it takes 32 bits, and double, it is double of float, which is 64 bits. Next, coming to the string, which is we all know, like it's a text data group of characters together. And next one is the duration. Duration is the time duration, like it is 3 hours 45 minutes and 2 seconds, something like that. And then coming to the date and time, so it gives the date and time over here. And coming to the date, it gives the date, as I already told you what's the format of the date. And coming to the time, it gives the time of the day. So these are all the simple data types. And next, coming to the complex data types, you can have mixed elements, sequences, etc. So these mixed elements are and the sequences are built using the simple data types. Now what I'll do is I'll show these data types in action by creating an XML, and I'll validate it using XSD. Friends, what I did over here is I have just created a very simple XML file. I have created a very simple XML file. So this is what is called as prologue. Okay, so it is called as prologue. Okay, so the first line over here is called as the prologue. So this prologue is optional. Okay, so if you want to, you can keep it, else it's optional. Okay, right. Now you can also include the encoding scheme over here. So you can say after this, you can write encoding is equal to, so wherein we are saying is equal to UTF hyphen 8, okay, and then a question mark and a greater than symbol. Okay, so this is what is called as prologue. If you want to, you can keep it. This is optional. Now coming to this one, okay, the bookstore over here. So for every open tag, there is a close tag. So this is nothing but the root element. So this is nothing but the root element. So inside the root element, I have one more tag, which is the book tag. So since I have only one book given here, so I just have one book and open and close tag of the book. If you want to add one more book in between here, okay, so in between this book and book, you can actually start another tag, which is book tag, and give all the elements that you want to. Okay, so all the other things that you want to, you can give it. So next I have given the title. So ignore this 6 and all that. I just did some validation. So I have given the name of the book, which is nothing but title name. So the tag is title name, and this is the close title name tag. And I have given the name over here, which is Java, and then I have given some price, and then available is true, and print date is, I have given some print date of this particular book. So this is a very simple XML document. Now for this, I have written a validation in the form of XSD schema. You can also do the DTD, which I already have made a video. You can just watch how I have done DTD validation of the XML. So in this particular file, I'm going to show you how XSD schema works and how I have given the data types over here. So for this, I have given the schema prologue over here. So I said it is schema and XML namespace colon access is equal to. So I have linked this, and then I have given the element. So which is access colon which is element, and name is equal to bookstore. So what's the name of the tag, which is the bookstore, and then it is complex type because it's not holding any data. It's having some more tags inside it. Such type of type are called as the complex type. And why I'm saying sequence is the order of the tags is important for me. I want the order of the tags to be like this only. So that's why I said sequence. As you can see down, okay, so as you come down, let me scroll down and show you. You can see like for every open tag, there is a close tag, and the closing tag is kept and the closing tag is kept properly. Okay, so first I have the schema one, so I have kept the schema, then the element, then the complex sequence. So this is what I meant, like the ordering of the nesting of the closing tags and all that have to be done very carefully. Okay, so now as I come over here, so let me just show you. Okay, right. After this, I have the book tag, right? So all this is related, all these three things are related to the bookstore, and all these three things are related to the book. Inside the book, now I have the title. So I have put the title over here. Just take off this 6. Okay, so you should not have numericals starting. Okay, so then I have the price over here, and then available, and then the print date. Now take a look at the data types over here. For the title, I have given it as access colon string, and for the price, I have given it as access colon float, and for the available, I have given it to be boolean, and then for the date, I have given it to be date. Okay, so these are all nothing but the data types. Okay, so these are the data types, which are XSD data types. So I'll validate it and I'll show you. So there are so many websites in which you can validate. So I'll take you to one of the websites and I'll show you how I'm validating. Okay, so this is a website which is freeformatter.com. So wherein I have taken the XML validator. So it will ask me to enter the two files. So the first file that I have entered is XML input over here. So you can also choose it from your directory. And then I have taken the XSD file over here. So you can just take a look at the entire document. Okay, so this is my, so you can see that this is my XML document and this is my XSD document. Okay, so you can see that I have uploaded these two documents. Okay, so now I need to click on this validate XML. So click on this validate XML and it will validate it for you. So you can see that it is telling me that XML document is valid. Okay, so if the data types are not matching, it won't give me this result. I'll show you that. Okay, so say for example, in the XML document, I'm taking off this true and I'm giving 1. Okay, so I just have given 1 and let us see whether it will validate for me or not. So I'm clicking on validate XML. So it is saying XML is validate. One is also, you can also put true, false, or 1 or 0. But here I have put 87. Okay, 87 is not a valid Boolean value because here in the data type I have mentioned that the type of available is Boolean. So now it will check against the data type and it is saying that it is not Boolean. Okay, so you just need to be careful whenever you're giving this type. So the data types are checked across, like whether you're giving it correctly or not. And say, for example, coming to the date, in the year, I just have given 200. Okay, so and let me validate it now. So when I try to validate it now, year, it will be having 4 numbers, right? Now it is telling me that the date is having some problem. So it is saying is not valid. Print date is not valid because there are only 3 digits over here. So you just need to be careful. So this is what we wanted, like, right? Because human errors are possible and excuse me, human errors are possible and you want something to validate it properly and give you the result. So when I do the validation, now you will be able to see that XML document is valid. In the same way, like you can also give the XML document and generate the XSD. You can also do that. Let me actually show you that also. So this is wherein I have used again the freeformatter.com, wherein I have given the XML document. I have given the XML document here, and then you will be having this generate XSD. Okay. So this is the website name, which is freeformatter.com. So when you click on this generate XSD, you will be able to, so the website itself will automatically generate the XSD for you. Okay, so you can see that this is what we have written, but the same thing like the website have generated to you. Okay, right. So in this way, like you can validate your XML file against the data that you have given and the data type validations and all that can be possible. I hope this introduction about XML and XSD and the data types and applications and advantages and all these are clear to you. Thank you for watching.